Hi, good morning. My name is Dr. John Chan, and I'm a certified tourism and travel management trainer with the HRDF. I am on a few universities as an industry advisory contributor. I am also with the EXCO Committee of Tourism Educators Association of Malaysia, also known as TEAM, and also the past Vice President of ATIM, which is the Association of Tourism Training Institutes in Malaysia. Okay. Besides that, I also conduct leadership professional certification program under Oxford, the OXCEL Centre for Leadership UK. Okay. And I attend panels and forums, to talk about graduate employability, trends in the tourism, hospitality industry. Okay, that's a very interesting question. This misconception has actually gone back 30, 40 years ago. Let's forget about such a long time era. Let's talk about the last 20 years. Many of the students, the parents, the societies where they come from have got this traditional mindset of employability. First of all, look for an education pathway which will allow you to have better salary, secured job future, as well as a promising lifestyle. Okay? But all these have been eroded by the advent of digital disruptions, okay, which the parents and to a large extent the students themselves are still caught in this time warp. Okay, the traditional thinking is now being overtaken right now, as I mentioned earlier, by the digital trends. Okay, what it basically means is that the children, the younger population right now do not want to conform to a rigid educational pathway. They want to challenge themselves to see what are the opportunities available to them beyond what they eventually graduate from. Now, take the traditional forms of educational pathways, for example, doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects. Okay, now even these career opportunities are under a lot of attack because of the current pandemic situation, and going forward, we do not know when the situation will improve. But hopefully with the rollout of the vaccinations, things can be much clearer. Okay, now going back to tourism studies as well, hospitality. Right now with the advent of digitalization, okay, customers' expectations are no longer what they are before, right? When I give talks when I'm invited to give talks at other higher educational institutions, during the Q&A, the students are no longer asking me questions traditionally like, sir, can you guarantee that we will be able to get a job when we graduate? After graduating, what is the first thing we should do? Look for which hotels or look for which companies, you see. They are now reversing the question to ask challenging questions like, what can I contribute, to the industry upon my graduation? So upon graduation, what can we pursue? So I will pass this question back to them by asking, what do you intend to do? They say they want to be part of the so-called gig economy, right? They want to be freelancers. They don't mind even taking part-time Grab assignments, as long as they challenge themselves, because they want to become their own bosses, right? And I understand from the help is an entrepreneurial, university, and it is on the right track to help them get away from their mindset, right? So other misconceptions would be part of the industry, I would say, weaknesses that never make it clear to the students, and the students' parents, their ecosystem. That tourism is not just about tourist guides, F&B, and what do you call that, service staff. It's beyond the realm of what I mentioned. It's more about challenging themselves towards a path, what do you call it, a career opportunity of an entrepreneurial spirit, right now. So I would encourage, help university, to help to mold, their thinking in order that will be able to help them step out of their shell. From my little bit of experience, in this industry, covering tourism, travel, hospitality, mines, transportation, air, and hotel development, etc. What is lacking right now in these areas would be the skill set of service orientation, as well as the attitudes. Okay, not many people who come from the traditional professional industry would be able to deliver the services that are required, as well as the service levels required in the service industry. Okay, and it is actually a different kettle of fish. But if you ask me, would people from this service industry be able to fit into the traditional professional industries? My answer is yes, very much so, right? Because it's a 24/7 industry. Unlike the traditional industries whereby a certain time you lock off your phone and then you wash your hands, etc. Now I'm saying it not to insult those from the professions. I'm saying that the students, the graduates, and those people who are involved in the service sector right now are far prepared to serve and willing to give more than the traditional sectors. With the rollout of the immunization and vaccination programs, and the efforts made by the governments, globally, according to what you call that, the latest report from TDG magazine, dated January 28, they have got a poll, right, actual surveys of people who have actually made hotel reservations from May this year onwards. Okay, number one. And number two, many people are actually spending time researching what they would like to do when they travel. Okay, so from this research, it boils down to, I would say, three very significant characteristics. Number one, they are actually going for shorter durations. They are actually prepared to spend a bit more, right? So compared to previous happy times where probably a traveler will spend twice to go out, twice a year, probably they cut it down to 1.5. So with the budget that they have, they are prepared to upgrade themselves, right? And go for more, I would say, free and easy content because of the pressure that has built up during this pandemic. And the third one, the most important thing would be they would like to go back to what is known as experiential tourism. Okay, go back to the old days, why people used to enjoy coming to Malaysia. The times of the Australians, the times of the British, etc. They want to really go back to experience what is known as community-based tourism. And that's a direction for the students of today. Right? There are many areas in Malaysia, rural, with communities that are not well developed. And they will be able to, if they come from their hometown, they might want to contribute to enliven the lives of the people around there. And that's what I mentioned about entrepreneurship, right? The infrastructure, they may want to set up a rest house, they may want to run a restaurant, they may want to help the majlis to improve the infrastructure, the public toilet areas, etc. So, in pursuing a course in tourism and hospitality, this is the only, I would say, way that will open up their eyes and their mind to these sort of tourism opportunities, as compared to the traditional studies, right? And And the students nowadays are pursuing that direction. They want to challenge themselves, they want to be their own bosses in a way, right? Because not everyone can be their own boss. But then the opportunities are more. Okay, this will relate to what I just mentioned earlier. Okay, instead of looking at what you call the sales part, we are now looking at the demand side of economics. Okay, in recognizing that the travelers would be the one who will decide where they want to go, when they want to go, and how much they are prepared to pay. Okay, so in summarizing all this, it means that potential stakeholders and players, must be prepared to recognize the changing trends, right, and the expectations of such customers. Okay, they will not want to be, how should I say, dictated, by a fixed set of itinerary. They want things to be flexible, right? They want to choose the day they want to travel, the amount of money they are prepared to spend, and the amount of time they want to devote to the activity. So for tourism and travel planners, particularly even in hospitality, they have to mold their services, right, towards such requirements. Right, so even if you go to the internet, you find that UGC, user-generated content is very important. People are no longer interested to follow the websites of, I would say, socialites. Oh, I spent so much time in this high-class resort. So what? This is not for me. So the trend is changing now, right? The internet, particularly all the social media, has become a very important pipeline, I would say, for people to explore beyond the traditional way of traveling. Well, I would say that we try not to suppress, whatever ideas they have. Of course, not every idea, is workable or practical, and some of these ideas may need a lot of money, right? So that goes to the point, when I've been invited to a couple of, I would say, as a judge, as a panel contributor in some of the universities who have got their projections, for mobile apps, for the design of full service kind of touristic activities. My caution to them is you must be realistic. Okay, do not think that first year your revenue you project 2 million from zero, and then that same 2-year profit projection is 1.2 million. That's not realistic. So you have to go back to basics, start with zero, probably like the same way businesses are operated. First 2 years, zero, lose money, right? Then eventually you have a bit of profit, and then you may want to diversify, right, activities in order to perhaps either you rely on it as a core business, or you inject in other activities will help you to support your cash flow. Yeah, and so in closing, I'd like to encourage all the students, right, to look beyond what they are learning, but to do a lot of research, right, to do a lot of, I would say, understanding of methodologies, so that they'll be able to embrace the trends moving forward for the future.